Callum.
Raymond.
What's going on, my friend?
It is finally cooled off in Toronto.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Had a scorcher of a time the last couple weeks at weddings. What have I been up to?
That's always the worst, right? At weddings, like when it's so hot and I know that, you're paid to be there and you're paid to be the professional, but there's no denying that when it's hot, like it's tough to work sometimes. Even just mentally, it takes a lot out of you.
I sweat the second it's over 20 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit because you guys are like the most ignorant temperature country ever.
Us and I think that there's only one other country who uses the imperial system, but they're
they
also
don't
dummies.
matter either.
So yeah, they don't. It's true. We're dummies.
So it's been hot. Last weekend I had the weekend off and went up to.
Yeah, it'll be 10 more minutes. Okay. You had the weekend off?
Had the weekend off, which was awesome. And Catherine and I went up to Ottawa. It's about a 4-hour drive. And we went and we did a night race up in Ottawa called Pure Protein Night Race 10K.
Whoa.
That was her wedding gift. So that was pretty cool. It absolutely crapped down with rain. Like 2 hours before, everything was soaked. It was awesome. It was a great race, and it was a good time. We also went to like a retreat spa thing in the woods, and you sat in hot tubs and pools and super cold water and relaxed. So that was really awesome. But now I'm back to, except for like one Saturday, I think I have off. I have work like Saturday, Sunday for the rest of the season.
You say that like it's a bad thing, man. That's awesome. Staying busy, though.
It is awesome. It's also
Whoa, you totally just left. Like,
so did you.
Weird. Okay, so just say it's awesome, but
it's it's awesome. But this is like, I had a slow start to the year, so now everything ramps up really heavy in the back end of my year for me. So I've been crazy. But I took the Fuji up to Ottawa, played with it a bit more.
Yay!
It's growing on me, but it's still missing some of those elements that I love about my Nikon. So it's still a work in progress, I think.
Hey, man, it's not a full-size DSLR, so I don't, there's a give and take a little bit about it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, what have you been up
to? This week has been kind of crazy around the house because, as everybody knows, we now have a 3-month-old, which is crazy to think. Like, today is her 3-month birthday. Nuts. She's 3 months old today. I can't believe that. But she's getting to the age to where we got to start thinking about the future and her sleeping situation. So obviously a baby sleeps in our room, in her little crib, but eventually she's going to need a place of her own. And that is, guess what? This office. So I gotta move out, unfortunately, but we're lucky enough to have it's a pretty good sized master bedroom. So I'm moving in all of my office equipment into there. And if you're looking around here on YouTube, we got like a beaker, and there's like a graduated cylinder somewhere else that I got at a wedding. I just have like pamphlets, the fermentation artisan, and the kombucha workshop. So there's just like a bunch of stuff around here. So taking control of all of this and putting it out in the garage and building myself a new like workbench has been awesome. And if you follow me on Snapchat, you will have seen a lot of the progress for this workbench. Have you been watching, Callum?
I've been watching. I saw you doing the good old painter's tape trick to make sure you don't splinter your wood.
Yeah. Legit. It's been good.
I'm not an amazing woodworker by any sense. My dad he built houses for a living, and he was a fine carpenter. But I never took that skill set to heart. So I see some tricks and trips and oh my God, geez. I see some tips and tricks every once in a while that people use. I'm like, I know that tip, but I don't use them. I don't really build things all that much. It's just it's not my style. But I hear you on that pain, because we are in the process of moving out of this apartment for a few months.
Into a van.
We are moving into a van, kind of. We're going to move into Catherine's mom's. We're going to live with her for a couple months. just because it's an easier transition to go straight into the van. And then we are moving to the van for 5 months. I'm actually just ordered new fuse panels and a new inverter for the van.
Ooh.
So that I can add more 12 volts, so I can have more juice. And I'm ordering solar panels in a couple weeks. That's my game plan for the next month on that. But other than that, I've got all this shit. I just got rid of my D800. I got another D750. If anyone's selling a 35 Nikon, I want to hear from you.
You're just crazy busy over there, man.
And I just finally finished up all those videos working for that artist that we were talking about earlier. So now it's actually calming down, and now we're just moving. And Catherine left for work, and I'm moving us all by myself.
Well, then we better get into today's episode because I don't want to waste too much of your time then.
We have someone pretty cool today.
Yeah, you know what? He actually works a full-time job as a painter. So he paints houses and stuff for a company. And then on the weekend, he gets to fulfill his creative passion of wedding photography. And he really shared a bunch of info on how he went from just having a website and how that wasn't cutting it to now using Facebook to book 8 weddings in the past month. That's crazy.
True. It's true.
So I think we should just go ahead and get on into it, Callum.
Yeah, we should introduce our guest.
Boom. Here we go. Today, we have an incredible podcast that I've been looking forward to for a few days now. Today, we have a Northern California hometown where I grew up, a wedding photographer whose name is Jake Mcanally, and he is a wedding photographer, like I said, based out of Northern California. He's been doing it for a while, but he also has a full-time job. So today we're going to talk about making the leap, if you want to make the leap, when is it safe, when is it smart, how you get your first client, all those sorts of fun things. So Jake, thank you for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Right on, right on. So, Jake, why don't you go ahead and get us started off by letting us know a little bit about who you are, how long you've been shooting, and what you do.
So, my name's Jake, and I've been shooting pretty much since 2009 or so. Got my first camera, and I really got into it because I was surfing, and I grew up in San Luis Obispo, Pismo Beach area, and everyone really knew each other, and I can't remember exactly like what it was that got me started in photography, but it was definitely like wanting to capture surfing, and that led from one thing to another, and it got me into landscapes. And when people saw my landscape photos, they were like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be in that picture," and so that's that. And I tried going to college, it just didn't work out. Tried going for computer science, and realized real quick that is not what I thought. And
yeah, that's pretty quick.
yeah, it was like 2 semesters, and I feel my my photography business by being a painter. It's not artwork, but I do houses. So by painting and being promoted through there, that has been able to buy me the expensive cameras and all the lenses and all that kind of stuff. And yeah.
Nice. So you started originally, I just want to make sure I clarify, you wanted to capture all the big waves and surfing, I guess on the West Coast. We don't see any of that. Like I have a lake, so it's just like a little ripple. And,
a little ripple.
a little ripple. So like, how did you learn photography, I guess, to start out once you got your first camera? Like what was, the process? Did you just point it at the water and shoot, or did you get some online help, or just, constant trial and error?
I wish I got online help because my first camera, it was a Fujifilm, and I knew nothing about cameras. I didn't want to go spend, $1,000. When I got my first camera, it was about the time when Costco had the Rebel T3i. That's not what I got. I went to Walmart or Best Buy, and I got a Fujifilm digital zoom camera. And
oh wow! Like not even interchangeable lens or anything, just point and shoot.
Yeah, I didn't know. And so I'd go to the beach and take photos, and I would go home to like pull them up and do in Photoshop at the time, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is like not what I thought it was going to be at all. I'm like, I'm terrible, and because like it's just taking this picture and magnifying it like that, and it was just not good at all. And
Wow. Okay, so where did it go from there? Like, what was the next step after you got out there with your digital zoom?
well, I immediately realized, crap, I made a big mistake, and I really did. And I never sold the camera. I actually gave it away like a year ago, finally. And I went to Costco and I got their Canon Rebel T3i kit. So I got the two kit lenses, and that right there was a good base to start as far as photography. At that point, I didn't know I wanted to pursue it, but it definitely gave me like a good starting foundation because it is a pretty good camera.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like amazing photographers could use it and get something amazing, and if as long as you know how to use it, the settings. But when I got that, um, the waves and everything got much clearer, and I got stoked about it and kept doing it, and so that was like the best thing I did, was getting that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, those T3Is, even I think if I go on Flickr right now and I typed in like T3I, there'd be like 1,000 photographers, squared who are better than me in every which way with a T3I, without a doubt.
Just
Yeah.
while we're talking about the T3i real quick, I used that camera probably for 2 years or so, and in the beginning I did do some paid stuff with it. I did a bunch of the free stuff. When you're starting out, you're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
I'm not worthy of your money yet. Like, I spent like forever building my portfolio, like most people feel like they have to, and I still feel like I have to do that. But so I did the whole thing. I went and spent gas to go drive 20, 30 miles to do someone's pictures. And I did start building my portfolio that way. But while I had the T3i, I also had people asking me to do like their weddings and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, like, I have a T3i, I can't do this. So,
Oh,
like,
that's just the photographer in you starting to
Yeah,
self-doubt. That's
there we
wrong.
go. We hear that all the time.
but yeah, I definitely put too much of a boundary on myself. I don't regret it, but
So
it's
where was I guess where was the education part of it? Was it literally just guess and check? You just went out there, started playing with it, and found something that you liked until you understood it, or I mean, how did you learn?
like in everything as far as photography.
Yeah, just photography. I mean, it
Yeah.
started from somewhere. You knew
Yeah.
that you liked it, and how did you kind of get the ball rolling to where you are today?
Um, I don't even remember. I would guessing what it could have been. I would have to say, as far as like surfing itself, in automatic, you get the auto settings,
Hmm.
and um, I remember a few times I wanted to get like the water completely frozen. I wanted to see the droplets, and so that was when I learned shutter speed. And between that and joining a photo group, they helped me out a little bit um,
What, on Facebook or like in real life?
in real life.
Oh wow, that's awesome! Wow, I feel like I don't hear like a lot of photo groups still around. I see
I
like a lot of Insta meets and stuff, but as far as like groups of photographers getting together, I don't see it. But Callum's shaking his head. Do you see it a lot, Callum?
No, man, I don't know. I mean, there's a few of us wedding photographers who get together like, once every 3 or 4 months. But it's not photography related. It's like just to get together.
Wow, so that's cool that you found something,
Yeah,
Jake.
that is
Is it still
actually.
together?
No.
Oh,
So it's a funny story. So they were called Light Riders. They were based out of Santa Maria, Orchid, and I only went to a few of their meetings. And this is all the time when I was learning manual and um, doing that whole process. And
Sure.
they did their monthly photo contest, and I snapped a photo of a pelican flying by, and because I was learning the shutter speed and everything, um, the I was able to capture the bird like completely still, and that was really good, and it actually that photo won in their photo contest that month. And like when you're
Oh,
just
that's
starting out,
awesome.
when you win, it's like that's huge, for someone just.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And so, that really kept me like going up.
Yeah,
Get
that'd be
that
a
confidence
huge
going.
confidence.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a big boost to confidence going, yeah, I'm getting it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, the group eventually, like separated. I don't really talk to the owners so much anymore. However, two of them have recently got in contact with me, and they said they've been silently following my work. I guess they've been watching me progress. I guess.
Oh,
And,
well, that's awesome.
yeah, and because they saw me when I was just learning manual, like what we're talking about, and now I know manual, and I'm working on other weakness areas, and they loved my work, and now they're actually mentoring my wife and I, um, from like everything like businessy related to like any kind of questions I have. Um, so
So that has got
it's
to be a
really good.
giant help.
Yeah. And then one more thing, another one of the owners, about 2.5 years ago, um, was gonna sell. I forget the name of it. It's like Square or something, but it was like studio lighting.
Hmm.
It was like $500 worth, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm interested. Like, how much are you wanting it for?" And he was like, "Dude, I will give it to you for free," because like I don't remember how he said it, but he basically was implying that like I want you to succeed. I don't want anything to hold you back, and um, like I know you're like worth like giving this to, basically. So joining
That's
that
crazy.
local group was amazing. It was,
Wow.
yeah,
That is awesome. So, I mean, getting such a great boost from past members of, your photography group, that has got to feel great. And especially when they tell you, like, we really want to see you succeed. Like, here's some extra equipment. I think that's really cool. But would you say that that equipment has hands down brought your photography to the next level?
honestly, I would have to say I don't use it that much anymore.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I guess really what I was getting at there, I'm not saying cool that you don't
No,
use it.
yeah,
I guess what I'm really trying to get at there was that I know that there's going to be listeners who, might use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, maybe I'd be as good as Jake, but I didn't get all this free equipment. So I really wanted to show, like,
okay,
it's that you're taking it upon yourself to learn your camera, that you want to learn the ins and outs before you start adding these other elements like flash and off-camera stuff. So perfect answer. That's exactly what I was looking for. I was glad that I got that. So,
all good.
all right. So now I guess that you started off your education. You went to these groups. You met some great people. You're now getting some mentorship. That's really cool. At the same time, like, you're still very passionate about this. You're working on this. Now it's time. How does it go from that to now you're shooting weddings? You mentioned that a few people talked about, hey, will you shoot our wedding and whatnot? But did you say that you did turn that down when you had the T3i? Or no, you didn't. You took it.
So no, I did not take them, and I really think it was not only a confidence thing, but it's someone's very important day. Like
Yeah.
I would say I hold myself to high standards, um, in a good way, where I don't want to like unplease someone, and I definitely turned down those weddings because I know like I just wouldn't have been like mentally prepared at all, like
Yeah.
regardless. And if you go and not mentally prepared, your photos aren't going to be the same. And so I did definitely. That was why I turned them down. But I also did it because I felt like I needed like an actual professional camera. The T3 is great, but I did feel like um, I don't know, I just needed that, and I actually wouldn't do a wedding until I got the better camera. Uh,
Really? That's
Okay.
really
It's kind of
interesting.
like you see all the people who get all the running gear, like, January 2nd, or all the gym gear, and like they won't go to like, I see people out running and you'd be like, they're a really good runner just by looking at their running form or whatever and they're like wearing like the most basic running shoes because they like them. But then you can see these people who like no foreman. They're all over the place and huffing and puffing it, but they've got like $600
All the
worth of
best.
gear
Yeah.
on them. And sometimes that's just the confidence you need. The help or the assistance to get yourself to psych yourself up and be like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
That's
definitely.
interesting. I never would have thought about it like that. But yeah, I guess it does make sense. So, okay, so yeah, let's talk. I guess we'll transition. We'll come back to getting clients, but yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and transition a little bit more into gear right now. So, what was the progression for you after you got the T3i? What was the professional camera that you thought, now I can start shooting weddings?
So I went from the Fujifilm $350 to the T3i Costco kit. I think it was like $1,200 after tax, and I used that one for a few years. And I didn't upgrade until I knew the insides and out of my camera, like all manual. I still learned things after I got the full frame, but you really got to know it. Like for me, I had to like know it was worth investing. So the camera I got was the 5D Mark II. I didn't want to go spend $3,000 on a Mark III, so I got the Mark II with my tax return, and
that's the way to do it.
And I got that. I can't remember. It was like $1,200 or $1,400.
Wow, I feel like that's still a pretty good deal for that camera. I sold mine recently for $1,200,
yeah.
and I wish that I didn't. Man, I love that camera.
So that was what I got, and it was my first time going from an SD to a compact flash. And the next day I got that camera, because I wasn't familiar with it. I did my friend's proposal at a really nice hotel. It wasn't paid or anything. Like I volunteered. Well, he asked me, and I volunteered to do it. When I got the camera, the guy gave me 2 compact flash cards with 2 gigabytes each. They quickly filled up, and so I went to. I know, it's like, what the heck? And so I put the second one in there, and I put it in upside down, and it wasn't going in, so I forced it in there. And
no!
And so just like that, I just spent another few $100s at Canon to get it fixed.
Oh no!
So I've had rough patches in photography. That could have been a setback. I was like, nope, but I got it fixed with
that's hilarious.
The remaining of my tax return.
That's funny.
That was the story.
Yeah, my first DSLR was the Canon XT. So that was in 2007 that I got the Canon XT. And back then, I mean, only point and shoots had SD cards. So when I got it, I didn't know what kind of memory cards that it took because I bought it off eBay and it didn't come with a memory card. So the first time I got it, I looked at it. I had no idea what kind of card it took. So I took it down to a camera shop that was surprisingly just right down the street from my house. I never knew about it. And then when I walked in there, the guy was like, oh, yeah, like we got exactly what you need. And he handed me, I'm not even kidding, it was a 128 meg compact flash card. And I was like, 128 megs? And at the time, like, I just graduated high school like a few years before, and I had a flash drive, right? And I remember that I had the largest flash drive in the school, and it was 128 megs. And like right as I graduated, one kid got like a 256, and I was like, no. So I just thought, oh, 128 megs, like that will just last forever. And then sure enough, that first day that I went out shooting, I mean, I got less than 100 photos, and it was like memory card full, and I was like, oh no, like this is bad, this is horrible. So I can only imagine, and that's less than 8 megapixels. So I can't imagine what it's got to be the same. A 2 gigabyte card on a 21 megapixel camera, it's just got to be like bogging it down.
I wonder if this is something like every photographer or someone who gets their first camera goes through, not like learning the mathematics of what their camera will
file
shoot
size, yeah,
and file size. My first camera was given to me by my uncle, and it was in London, and he gave me this D100 by Nikon, and it was like, it was kind of an upper model, but he was like a commercial photographer, and it was like old to him, and he just handed it off to me with a 2 gig card and some, crappy nifty 50 lens, and he goes, okay, first thing you always do is you always format it, and then he's like, okay, I gotta go work today, and I gotta go do stuff. And so he took off, so I was around London, I'm firing off photos, and all of a sudden I'm just like, it won't take any more photos. But I couldn't even figure out, like, I didn't even see the full, like, it says full right on the top of the display. I didn't even see that. I just went, oh, I've broken this camera like 2 hours into use. And I sat there, and then I finally figured it out, and I spent probably more time wandering around London picking photos to delete so I could take a new photo because I couldn't just go back. I had to take like a 45-minute tube ride back to dump them, and then it was awful.
That's hilarious. It must be some sort of like growing pains when it comes to photography, because I mean, when I first started off, I think if you just Google, like I don't know. I mean, if you were just to Google 5D Mark II card size or memory card size, I guarantee you'll find 100,000 threads that are like, I have a 5D Mark II. What size card should I get? I mean, it's just something that people, I don't know if they just don't understand it or if it's just lack of experience. But for sure, that's definitely something that I think that we all go through. I think that's hilarious.
I think
because I've never talked about that before.
I think Jake's just spurred us on to maybe have a podcast episode where we try and like diffuse the memory card, myths.
I think that's over now. I think that's over. I mean,
you think, okay, so we'll do some crude math here at 42 megabits.
It's just that, I mean, memory cards now, it's like I don't think that you can find one less than like 16 gigs, and if you can't shoot all day, with just a regular point-and-shoot camera on 16 gigs, then my God, you're taking way too many photos. But that is hilarious. That's hilarious. So you still have the 5D Mark II now? Is that right?
Yeah, my wife uses that now, and I just recently got a 60.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. How do you like the transition from the Mark II to the 60? Some people say that it's a massive upgrade, and some people say that it's a massive downgrade. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
I definitely don't think it's a downgrade in any way other than the max shutter speed being at 4,000.
Right, but
that's the only thing. But other than that, I love the Wi-Fi. I actually use it a lot for personal stuff.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is legit.
It is. It's
yeah.
Cool. But I only center point focus, so.
So it makes sense that you wouldn't need all those extra points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really can't see myself doing it any other way.
Right. I was the same way when I was on Canon. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just makes the most sense. It's right there. Focus and recompose is so fast when you can really nail it down. Just I got the eyes, now get a better composition, boom, done. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you can like recompose and then take like 4 or 5 shots and not have to refocus and recompose, just it's like when you first do that for the first time and you realize like, oh my God, like I can get these done so much quicker now. Like, and this light bulb goes off in your head. It really is like a great moment that you feel like I'm really growing in my photography. Like I think that is like more exciting. That was more exciting to me than when I upgraded to a full frame camera. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just cool.
As Canon ignorant, because I'm Nikon, is like switching focus points quite like annoying to do.
Yes, we have talked about this, Callum. We have talked about it. On Canon. You have to press a button and then you have to scroll a wheel until it selects the right focus point. Okay.
What?
So yeah. Well, so if your focus point is all the way up at the top, if your focus point is all the way up at the top, you have to press a button to select what focus mode you want to be in, and then click, 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 like 4 or 5 times until it goes all the way down to the bottom. So, I mean, you might be able to do it quick, but there's no joystick like there is on Nikon, and you can't just push down and suddenly it's there. Wow. So having it in the center is just the most, economical way, I guess, for Canon users. It's a mess. It's a mess. Sucks. I understand that.
Sucks. Okay, so besides camera bodies, Jake, what are you shooting with? Because glasses is where it's at.
So, and I do realize that. I realized that pretty early on. So, I first had the kit lenses with the T3i, and I can't remember now, but I don't think those are usable on the Mark II.
No.
Okay, so
right.
So
yeah, I think it comes with the 18 to 55, and then like the 18 to 135, or was it the 55 to 200?
Yeah.
Now both of those are EFS lenses, so those wouldn't work. So you just had to throw those in the trash, huh? Or do you still have your T3i?
No, I sold that for like $300 to a friend, and
nice.
sold that lenses on Craigslist. But So immediately I was like, oh crap, like I got this camera, I don't need lenses. So I ordered the Yonguno 51.8. It was only
Oh,
50.
okay.
Cool,
And
cool.
a lot of people don't realize like how much that like their photography can change by just buying that one $50 lens. Um, so I got that, and I actually used that setup for quite a while. And I did that because the lenses I wanted at the time, everyone says you have to get the 24 to 70, and you have to get the 70 to 200, and that's like $2,000 each. Like
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
not gonna happen. And so I got the 51.8, and the next lens I got was the 35 Art, the Sigma.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
massive upgrade, man.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. So that was Amazon credit.
You got $50 cash back though, so that rocks.
So got that, and then got that paid off, and then the next lens I got was the Canon 135L, and
Ooh.
so I actually still only use those two lenses. I've adapted. I really don't need anything else. If I was to get something, it would be something bigger than 135.
Really? So you're good all day on that 35?
Well, and the 135, but yeah.
And the 135, right. But I mean, like, you would say that the majority of your shots are done on the 35? Because the 135 is a pretty long lens.
Yeah.
So any of my photos are all taken with mostly the 35, but
Wow. So let's just say that you're going to an engagement session. Are you taking both those lenses, or are you just taking the 35?
oh no, I always take them. I wear like a little messenger bag, so I always have those on me, and um, I
That's
have a
awesome.
reflector. I just don't hardly ever use it except for shade to shade people. And my flash are always with me, and my prism and my copper tube.
Yeah, everybody's got their Prism and Copper tube recently with the with Sam Hurd going on, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's great though. It's great if you learn how to use those things. I mean, Sam Hurd is, yeah, I mean, he calls himself an innovator, and you can't deny it. You know, a lot of the stuff that he comes up with is really cool and unique stuff. So that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
I
looking at
think,
your website right now, it's shocking how much I wouldn't have assumed that you're just using the 35. I mean, I think in your engagements, I think that you only have 2 photos that are taken with the 135. Three photos that are taken with the 135, and that's really impressive because as a portrait lens, you typically don't think of the 35, but I can tell, man, that you've put in a lot of time behind that lens, and you really know how to rock it. Like, it's really impressive.
yeah,
Congratulations.
Really have.
I was gonna say Jake might be like the first person we've had on who, isn't the traditional 35-85. And
Yeah,
he's
I went
just
that
skipped right
little
over
bit
it, just
further.
went straight to 135 and is like rock star for the 35-135 lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think that's his claim to fame right here. I'm actually super like I've been through your website already, but even when I go back, it's not, a lot of people go 35 and 85 because if you work them right, you'll never be able to tell the difference between the two focal lengths, or if you're a good photographer, you wouldn't. But when I go through your website, I'm just like, 85 and 135 aren't so far, but there's still a good gap of depth there.
Mhm.
But it's seamless. Like you just do a lot of work that seems to be contextual, and clearly your love for surfing and landscapes fills in a lot of that photography, especially with like I was looking at one with like especially these sunset shots and like mountains in the background. I'm just like blown away. And then all of a sudden it's just like a 135 shot, but it fits in just without any abrupt, and I'm like, whoa, I'm too close. It's like perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that that's always hard to do when it comes to such a long focal length. Is that you really want to keep your subjects the same size in your frame, because really what it is that you're changing is the amount of compression. It's not that you're trying to look further away, it's that you're just trying to change how the image is going to look.
Mhm.
And I mean, Honestly, man, I think that you really mastered that. Like, you're doing great at that. And, you know, it doesn't hurt that the Canon 135 is probably one of the best lenses of all time. So, I mean, you're definitely rocking that. So that is awesome. I love it. And looking over your website, are you using your website to is that your main source of trying to get in clients? Are you advertising anywhere else, or are you trying to get on the first page of Google? Like, what are your goals for your website?
I don't know.
Right. Okay. So,
but as far as advertising and everything, my wife recently started helping me with as far as like all that businessy type stuff goes, the stuff I suck at, and she has been doing like most of everything on Facebook, and because we're in Livermore, in the Bay Area of California, and we also get like the Modesto area too. That's where she's from, that area. So between this area, the Modesto area, and back home in San Luis Obispo area, we're a part of a bunch of Facebook groups for, like the area code Craigslist or buying stuff, and photography pages and event pages for brides to go to find vendors. So between all those, I think she's in like 11 groups that she posts in. If not once a day, every other few days, she'll post a little. I'm blanking on the thing. It's like
just like a link to your website and stuff.
I have like a little grid of like 8 photos, and my name's in the middle. And she has like, contact us. You know, we're always doing a promo, and so.
Has that been working out pretty well for you?
It has. In the last, let's see, the last month or so, I could be wrong, but just off that, I think we booked between 3 to 6 weddings, somewhere in there.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
That's killer.
She's home now. She's saying 9 or 8.
Wow. I mean, that's even better. Yeah, that's even more impressive. So just in the past month and a half, I mean, I do this full time, and I haven't even booked 9 weddings in the past month and a half. I think that if anybody's booking 9 weddings in the past month and a half, it's probably the first week of February, because other than that, it's not very often. So obviously you're doing something right. So I guess if obviously I know that you talked a little bit about how your wife is kind of taking over that, but I know that you have to have some sort of insight into these ads. If anybody's like struggling. If any of our listeners are struggling to get clients, and they were to hear that, they're going to be very upset with us if we don't ask how it is that you're doing it. So, are you guiding them to go to your website to contact you, or are you just saying message us here on Facebook and then we'll take care of it, or are you meeting them for coffee, or are you just sending them a pricing guide? Like, how does that work for you?
So, she is the one that does all this, but. So the way we get the clients is first she does a lot of stuff through like direct message between text or just like messenger chat, but we really try to get them no matter what to at least look at the website.
Yeah.
Not only so they can see like the style, but like I really want them to see that they like my work, and if they like it, I want them to be able to like think that could be them. And so once we get them hooked on the actual photos, she then goes and finds out all the information about their wedding. That way we can give them a quote. And we know a lot of people that we're attracting right now. We're not getting the super rich people. So we do have to kind of tailor our prices to the audience that we currently have. So that means we're not exactly able to increase our prices right now.
Sure.
Which sucks. Like, everyone wants to get more money, but at the same time, you have to work up, I guess.
Just a little FYI. If I booked 9 weddings in a month, if I booked 6 weddings in a month, I'd be upping my prices real quick, because demand is obviously there. Just a little bit of encouragement for you, but anyway, go on.
So we do that. Do you want to come talk? Okay, she wants to.
Bring her on in. We'll take it.
We're getting rid of Jake.
I don't think I fit.
It's my wife, Tabitha.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Tabitha.
Hi,
Hey.
Tabitha. I'm Raymond. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Callum. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right,
So
babe,
I
sell
was
it.
overhearing him talking about our process, and I was like, no, that's not our process.
He's like, no, 8. Got 8.
No, like, it's been amazing. I mean, from him being as good of a photographer as he is to, like, hardly booking things, like maybe a friend here and there. I kept telling him, like, you need your name out there. People don't know. They're not looking at your website. Like, something has to change. And so when my schedule opened up to be able to sort of take over the advertisement and try to help boost business, what we started doing first is, like he said, get people to the website. Like, definitely, we want them to see how great his work is. So one of the things I had to push is for him to keep building his portfolio, because he's so picky with his photos that he doesn't put enough on there.
Trust me, it's not just him. It's all photographers.
That's
Don't
good.
hold it against him. Yeah, it's everybody.
And I'm just like, you as a bride, looking at something, they want to see variety. They want to see some of the detailed photos. They want to see how their bridesmaid photos are going to look. They want to see everything. They don't just want to see your best 5 photos. They want to see consistency in your albums. So the first thing I did was make him put albums back on his website.
The galleries.
The galleries, like of
Okay.
weddings, of maybe the top, variety throughout the wedding, but some of the top, like 20, 30 photos, so that as people are looking at the website, they're not like, these are great, but out of these 10 photos, can he do this again? Or was this just like out of a million, he got 10 great ones? So that when they're viewing the galleries, they're seeing consistency in his style. And so I kept telling him, like, people need to know and be confident that when you take their photos, that's what you'll see. And so that was something that we worked on first, was the website. And then getting people to the website, like you said, were those Facebook groups. So we got married in May. So the way that I did, the way that I did our wedding was 209 wedding brides, Central Coast weddings, and there are all these brides who are just asking other brides advice, who's the best florist, and recommend photographers. And so I had used that, and I thought it was great, and thousands of brides are using these. And so I thought that would be a great way to easily advertise our work and start in that lower budget, so that we get people that are willing to, they'll see great photography at such a reduced rate that it'll be an easy sell for us to get our portfolio built really, really fast.
And referrals.
Yeah.
Our biggest thing right now
Referrals.
is to get word of mouth.
We are wanting to work with budgets and build our portfolio. So if I have some indication of someone working like a little bit under that budget, we've been able to sort of work with brides and find a way, and taking into account how far are we traveling, where's this location, how beautiful will these photos look, is it worth it for the investment of our portfolio as well, to take that $200 hit. But we've sort of developed this motto of being really against setting hour amounts on our work, because something Jake started early on before I was really much a part of it is just this belief that we want to capture the best photos and we want the portfolio to be as best as it can. And if you're scrunching everything because they can only afford 6 hours and they don't want to pay the extra 2, you're not going to catch every moment, and they're maybe not going to be as satisfied. They're choosing us because we're saying, no, we know you can only afford this, but we'll just give you from getting ready to exit at this rate because we want to capture every moment. And for them, when they're getting rates at like the lower 400 to 500, and then they get us saying that, it seems like that feedback is really positive, and that's helping us book those weddings.
Right.
Yeah, I used to,
Package.
when I used to have packages that were hourly, I used to kind of just like sit into my time frame, and then kind of at the end I was like I really love night portraits. Like that's like probably like 50% of like what I love. So I'm just like at the end I'm like, I've got everything, we're kind of at the end of the time frame and whatnot. I'm just like, but I've got to get like, I want to stick around for half an hour. I'll capture some more like dancing, and because in a half an hour the stars are going to be out, or like the venue's going to look really nice lit up, and I want to get you guys in a picture of that. Yeah. Since I've moved to full day coverage, like I don't do that anymore. But usually couples will be like, "You should go home. You've been here forever." And I'm like, "No, I got a better idea." I'm like, "I've got a better idea. We're going outside."
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, "Oh, the guys are only like, going to be on the boat in the morning before you show up." I'm like, No. I'm gonna be on that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So, okay, so Tabitha, I guess I kind of want to get back to what we were talking about with Jake right before, we kind of all got in here is that, with booking quite a few weddings, all at once, what is your strategy to go about these brides? He said that like you're direct messaging some couples. Is that really how you're trying to get in there?
Yeah, so I think the personal touch has been working really well. So I post right away when they're looking for someone. I post them, I refer to their website, and then I follow up with a personal message. I at first didn't do that, and I noticed I was not getting inquiries as fast, and so I started leaving my message so other brides could see it too when I'm responding to a post, and then follow up with a private message like on Facebook and let them know, hey, when you get a chance, check out our work. We're a husband and wife team. We would love to talk with you more about what we offer. That right away at least opens up a personal conversation that after 20 other photographers have posted, I might not get a chance to do otherwise.
Yeah.
And then from then, just being really personal. I think talking with them about my experience, having just been married has been really well. Just like I'm a real person, like I get what you're going through. I know tight budgets. And it's all really sincere, just like connecting with them on a personal level. So I'm really personable and laid back in my interactions with them, but really professional and direct when we're talking about services and our prices. So I have a nice balance of that where, and he taught me that too, like to be a little bit more casual and don't be so like stern, because ultimately you're going to spend an entire day, your most special day next to these people photographing like up in your face your whole wedding. And I think that gauging that your personality and you're connecting with them is really important. And I found that when I feel like I'm talking to them like we're friends, but I'm like selling them something at the same time, I'm booking those weddings. And it's really working. It's working really great. As he was in here with you guys, I'm actually closing a wedding right now with someone talking to them, doing the same thing, connecting with her. So I just think that personal touch, relating with them, not being afraid to give them input. I had a bride I was just talking to, choosing between video and photography, and like saying she wanted it all for $1,000, and just being like really clear, like that.
Not gonna happen.
I do not recommend that. Like you get what you pay for, and think about what's more important to you, and paying a little more for a photographer, but not having video and having great photos is really going to be what you're going to be satisfied with later. And talking with her and not being afraid to do that has been working really well with brides, because they're just like kind of lost in the whole thing and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. It's, I tell this to every couple that I go on an engagement session with. It's like you're planning this once in a lifetime event and you've never done this before. And yet for some reason you're expected to do it like without a hitch going off, right? Like it's supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be all your dreams coming true, and yet you have no idea what you're doing. So, I mean, it's got to feel great being a bride and just having a friend that reaches out to you to say, hey, you know what? This is what we offer. That's what I can tell you. Hopefully here's some real advice. Hopefully you take it. If not, no worries. And I think that's a really great approach. I think, how would you think if, you guys are at such a great advantage being a husband and wife duo. It's like, Jake's obviously fantastic at photography, and Tabitha, like you're just killing it with the business side of it. How would you suggest if it was just a single guy out there trying to start his own photography growth? Would you recommend doing the same thing, going through the same groups and directly reaching out to these brides, or going some other direction?
Well, so what I was doing before definitely wasn't working. And that was basically what I was doing, was having a website, updating it like once every 5 months. And I have also added a blog, which you saw, so I started adding to that. I try to do it weekly. And so it looks like it's active on my website.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing that changes when someone goes on there. And I was posting every once in a while on pages trying to get work, and that wasn't working either. So I just wasn't making a very good footprint, and that's definitely where I was lagging. Because if I don't post that I'm a photographer, who's gonna know to go to
Yeah, that's tough when you, especially when anyone's going, starting up and finally ready to take on couples and clients in any genre of photography that we have, listeners doing all sorts of stuff. It's you go, how do I create momentum or waves, or how do I create awareness that I actually exist? And I think even my first, 3 years, I struggled, and even probably now, I could be better than I am today. And it's like before I would just sit there and go, update my website, great, I'm done.
If no one's going to the website, it's not going to do anything. Yeah, and so directly to that question, I would say that that approach could definitely work, even just for a photographer, a male photographer. You don't have to be a bride to really relate to people or to have a friendly approach. But I think the number one thing is just constantly making an appearance, like a footprint on the internet. So being a part of those sites, wherever locally you are, just typing in like whatever, like if it's 209 is the area code on one of them we use, 209, something with wedding, it pops up, add yourself to that group, and make sure you're constantly checking these as brides post. I'd say on average, it could be 5 to 10 different brides a day posting for photographers. And I am just constantly watching that notification, and I'm posting, we're available, give them their website, then I send a personal message, and I wait. And I think that that approach gets me 80% of the way.
Yeah.
And closing that is just personal connection and personality. And so just like not being afraid to show personality. A really great example is something that happened last night. It was actually Jake that did it. Someone gave us a date, and she said like July 7th, 2016 was her wedding date. And you made a joke. What did you say to tell her? And I was like, no, no, no. And then it worked.
I like joking around, like, because people find that funny and they can relate. So she said it was actually, she was saying her wedding was like July as in a few months ago.
Right.
So I was like, tell her the only way we can do it is if you buy us a time machine. So,
and she laughed, and she was like, I would totally pay to see that, but no, it's 2017, and it was just like really broke the ice. And she booked today. Like, we're sending the she wants to book. We're sending the contract. She's interested at our rate. So I think that just really helps. Just be really personable with people. And I don't think that I need to be someone that can relate as a bride to be able to do that. I don't think husband and wife pitch has to be the way that you do that at all.
Yeah, I think getting your personality out there, in photography is massive. Before if you saw my website from 2 years ago, there was like nothing. It was just images, and you're like, they're pretty, but like, I don't know who this guy is or what he is. He could just be like not even a real person. Now there's pictures of me doing, I don't know, I think I'm laughing or something, and it's like, I think there's a picture of my van there now. Like, I have this RV, and it's, we'll be on the West Coast. I'll be in California in like January. We just know we're going down the West Coast, and then it's a trip for 6 months. We don't have a map. We can talk about this later. All I was gonna say is like, your personality is like clutch. Raymond's laughing at me, but he shouldn't be.
I just don't think that you understand how big California is. You're just like, California, yeah, we'll be there.
Wait, how long would it take to get from the top of California to the bottom?
13 hours.
Oh, man, that's nothing. You know how long it takes to get out of my province from one end to the other? It takes
okay, all right, whatever. You win.
2 hours.
Okay, you win. All right.
If you're not in traffic, which you always are in traffic in Ontario.
If I want to, can I add real quick?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, do it. It's too late.
When I started out, one thing that helped me get shoots and also money, because it was nice to get money when you're starting out, was
always.
I did the little the mini sessions. So I did like the 30-minute sessions, and I charged literally like $30. I actually set a little layout. So I started at like 4, and I went to sunset. So
oh my gosh.
I did from 4 to 4:30. I did a shoot, and then I did a 15-minute crossover just in case I stayed late, and then I booked another one, another. So I was making like over $100, and it also helped build my portfolio that I didn't have. A few of them actually led to referrals for other families. So in the beginning, that's really good.
Really, for sure.
You got to take jobs where that it helps pay the bills, or at least help you gain experience. I do things are not wedding related all the time because they pay the bills. And they actually probably make me a better artist in the end. But I mean, anything. I think that hustle, you know, starting out is something people overlook, especially in the arts, where they think they should get instant gratification. And I think this is actually, like, I had this really big question because I know on your, I'm going to switch a little bit of gear here, and it's going to seem a little bit convoluted, but on your About page, it mentions that you want to push, like, I guess, you know, the boundaries of what you can do with cameras or photography. You know, and I guess I want to know, like, what's really, like, lighting you up, you know, to,
I don't
like,
remember what it said.
let me go to it. Let me go. Yeah, so you said, I also realized how much you love taking photographs, and I began pushing the limits that you thought were possible. Like, are you still pushing the limits? Like, you know, what are you trying to explore? Like, what do you love about capturing weddings in a photographic medium that, like, really, like, makes you excited?
For one, I think I'm always finding new ways to use light with the sun. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I think I can help him out to rack his brain a little. Like, something that he's really been focusing on is he loves cool effects. So how he can use, like, those.
Oh yeah, I was telling him earlier.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
The copper covering and the prism.
To have those special effects, or to, like, use natural light in a way that creates something that isn't just a nice photo, but that's, like, really artistic. And I think that his style is developing as, like, not only, like, really great wedding photos and just candid, like, genuine, you know, faces and poses, but that it's really artistic in a way that other photographers aren't capturing it, playing with the light, playing with, you know, the different, I think, depth of field, and, you know, all of those things. I think is what that gets him really excited to be able to try those things. I don't know what you were doing, but the other day took your lens off and we're trying to shoot a photo that way.
Relensing.
I tried, it didn't work out. But
I've got like 3 free lenses and I don't use any of them anymore. I love that you get alternative, like.
I do whatever I have to do to get the shot. So is she. We were doing a wedding, and we just recently got her a new lens, the 24-70. But before that, she just had a 50, and she was inside a bathroom,
tiniest bathroom.
A small bathroom.
Oh, jeez.
She's trying to get the reflection of the bride who's doing her makeup, and she literally had to go stand inside the shower. And I got a picture inside the shower, and I posted, "Look, guys, my wife's in the shower taking the photo."
Great photo.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I learned from the best.
That's hilarious. That is too funny. I mean, yeah, you're right. You know, you got to do whatever it's going to take to get the best shot that you can at the time and with whatever you got. So I think that's perfect. You guys are killing it. Well, guys, I really want to be mindful of your time. I know that it's 8 there, but it's almost pushing close to midnight here on the East Coast. So
well, I don't mind. It's okay.
So why don't you let our listeners know where they can find you, Instagram, Facebook, website. Let them know everything about you.
So on Facebook, we're Jake Mcanally Photography, and our website is jakemcnally.com. It's MCANALLY. We have Instagram, but we don't use it.
Okay, right on. Hey, I mean, some people don't. That's totally fine.
Gotta use that Instagram. Right now.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you guys, we're gonna have links to those on the website, which hopefully will help you guys out with some SEO, get you a little bit higher on the ranks. You know, we do that as a thank you, so hopefully that'll help. If anybody wants to go to your website, head over to the show notes and check it out there. Aside from that, guys, if you had to tell yourself, if you had to go back in time, like to the day that you got your T3i, and tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Something I still do, but I would have to tell myself back then so I could start from the beginning, is stop putting a boundary for yourself, like artistically and business-wise, and just everything photography related. Stop putting the boundary.
I love it. I love it.
For him,
He's going to get a big chest tattoo, no boundaries.
No boundaries.
I didn't start out as far back as him, but I saw him in that progression, and so, like, if I were speaking for him, I would say to himself, just be confident, because I think if he had had the confidence earlier on, he would have been this far much sooner. And I think just helping him build that confidence is really what pushed his photography further much faster in this last year. So just be confident with your capabilities and your work, and don't set limits for yourself. Just keep going.
That's a perfect way to wrap it up. Guys, we want to be mindful of your time. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We cannot wait to watch your progression, obviously, as you grow and grow. We know that the future is going to have great things for you guys. I think that we did it. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Dude, Jake and Tabitha, Tabitha came in late to the podcast party, but
she added a bunch of information.
But tons of really good information. I think what's really cool to hear from Jake, even though he has a day job and is trying to work his way out of that, that career into something he loves, is that he really puts a lot of expectation on himself to give people a great client experience and to really make sure that his personality comes out in his work. And one of my favorite things him saying, is that he would just he'll jump in a bush to get a shot because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, and he's even got the pictures to prove it on his website for sure.
It's true.
I mean, yeah, that is the kind of guy that he is. He's not scared to try something new, and I think that that's really important as a new photographer. Is that just because you see photos that you like on on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Instagram, whatever. I mean, try to get those photos, but try to make them your own. Try to make them uniquely your own, and don't be afraid to try something new. Jump in a bush, jump in a lake. Who knows? Just not underwater with the camera, because I don't think that they work too well without a so really, I mean, he did share a lot, and then as well as Tabitha just saying how they found those brides and how they converted them into wedding bookings was so awesome. And in fact, it was so great that if maybe you were listening to this episode in a car, or you didn't have a pen and paper, or maybe you're at work, I went ahead and took the liberty and created a step-by-step guide of how Tabitha is, finding these clients, communicating with the clients, and then eventually getting them to book. And I'm sending that to everybody who is subscribed to the Beginner Photography Podcast. I'm going to email this out to everybody on the list on Friday, August 26th. So if you're listening to this before then, you still have time to sign up. And then guess what? News blasted out. It's for everybody, but if you don't sign up by then you're not going to get it. As well as there were a few extra tips that Tabitha shared off the air that you're only going to be able to find in the newsletter. So guys, really go ahead and sign up for that. But until then, we highly encourage you guys to head over to the Beginner Photography Podcast website. Check out the show notes. If you had any questions or wanted to see links to some of Jake's work, go to his website, friend him on Facebook. Great guy, really puts out a lot of good work, him and Tabitha. As well as check out that photo of Tabitha in the shower trying to get that picture of the bride. I think it's a good one.
It is.
So yeah, head over there, friend us on Instagram, Beginner Photo Podcast, and then follow Callum and I on Snapchat. Callum, your Snapchat is, or wait, you're using Instagram slightly more than you are Snapchat now, right?
Yes. You know what? We can actually talk about this again, if we want to later, but I'm putting more professional stuff behind the scenes of my actual work, or I'm trying to on Instagram. I did have a little bit of my dog in there yesterday because it was such a nice day. I wanted to share that. And my Snapchat's more like weird things just happening in my life, not very professional.
Okay, well, where do you want people to follow you?
You know what? You should probably go on Instagram and follow me at Cal Pinkney Photography. I've been thinking about changing that handle. I'm not sure I like it, but whatever. And Snapchat, I'm at Cal Pinkney Photo. Just drop the graphy.
Just drop the graphy. I am the same on Snapchat and Instagram. It's just R Hatfield Photo. So if you want to follow me there, go ahead and do that. We would love to talk to you. Same with the Beginner Photography Podcast. It's just Beginner Photo Podcast on Instagram. Guys, go out there, take photos, share them, send them to us on Instagram, tag us in them. We want to see your work, for real. We'd really love to see you grow, and we want to be a part of that. So until next week, guys, get out there and shoot. Have a blast. We'll see ya.
Take it easy.